Errol Smart said, South Africa is now the most compelling investment story in the world. Now, he is looking to also the strengthening rand at the moment, because when you're building something like a mine, which he's doing in the Eastern Cape, when the rand strengthens, your whole costs begin to fall. So he was absolutely over the moon that when looking forward, as he has to import goods, those goods are going to be cheaper than they budgeted for. And that is the sort of sentiment going through. You can see JP Morgan putting South Africa in a new investment category. Anchorage also saying this is the time to look at South Africa, at least in the short term. So it's actually an amazing turn of events on the investment front.
Martin, nearly 4 billion rand is earmarked for investment by one of South Africa's major mining groups.
Yeah, so Thungela, which is listed in Johannesburg, said this week that it's looking to put an investment of nearly 4 billion rand of capital into its projects in South Africa. Again, people are looking to build at this moment for the same reason. The stronger rand outlook is giving them confidence. They've had their plan to go forward with these projects, but all of a sudden, when you look at the rand, these become cheaper, particularly on, of course, the goods and services that have to be imported. So this is in Mpumalanga, 2 mining shafts. The projects there are on budget, on time, and now going ahead in a different environment. They're looking to also, meaning these for expansionary capex. Expansionary capex is always better than stay in business capex. So this is mainly expansionary capex. It will begin immediately, and it goes into this year more than 2 billion rand of it. And then as these projects proceed, they've also budgeted for more expenditure, which nearly hits the 4 billion rand mark.
And Richards Bay Minerals is moving to clean, green electricity, and they're doing this at record pace, Martin.
It's amazing how quickly these companies can now organize renewable energy. Now, this was done, 140 megawatts coming in wheeled from the Western Cape, and they organized it in 6 months. I mean, even the people that were involved there, they said they've done many projects, but never at this pace. And you can see that the whole attitude towards renewable energy is getting into a stronger market position. And I think Richards Bay Minerals is a case in point. They are now going into also having power on site, because they've wheeled it in, but they will also do it on site. They'll have storage on site as well. And they say the new market is bringing in aggregators. Now, we call them aggregators. They're really traders, although they don't sell over the counter. They're going to be buying and also producing energy and having a platform where people can get renewable energy quickly. So it'll be very pliable, and it's also short term. It doesn't have to be long term. So all sorts of interesting developments taking place on the renewable energy front.
Well, Martin, that's where we'll leave it. Thank you so much. Martin Creamer will be back with another edition of At the Coalface, same time next Friday. Well, that's where we have to leave it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, be safe, enjoy the weekend, and to the production team as well. It's 1:00. Here's Dineo Motaung with your latest news. Thanks, Sakina. Top stories: damning findings against Northern Cape transport officials, and Coronation bags major legal win against SARS. Good afternoon. A joint damning report has recommended that officials from the Northern Cape Transport Department implicated in fraud and maladministration allegations be held accountable. The investigation by the Office of the Public Protector and the Public Service Commission, PSC, has revealed serious improper conduct by officials in the issuing of taxi operating licenses. Provincial PSC Commissioner Anile Qoyiya says the entire system of issuing taxi operating licenses has been compromised.
People were going to the department as if they are going to a shop. They walk in, they come out with licenses. And those people who followed the necessary procedure, the prescribed procedure, they took forever. Others, it's been 3 years. They have not received those operating licenses. There are even instances where some of the people are having operating licenses, but they have no taxes.
The case against IEC Commissioner Dr. Nomsa Masuku has been postponed by the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court sitting in the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. Masuku will appear in court on the 4th of September after being granted 20,000 rand bail. 62-year-old Masuku was arrested by the Hawks today for fraud amounting to 1.2 million rand during the time when she was employed at Standard Bank. As head of the bank's CSI program for the Adopter School Trust, she allegedly flaunted processes by awarding scholarships to friends and family members. Masuku also allegedly deposited some of the monies into a personal bank account without the approval of the trust committee. Moving to the northwest, the ANC in the province has refuted allegations that it failed to consult with its alliance partners before going ahead with pronouncing the Provincial Executive Council. This after the COSATU in the province labelled the conduct of the ANC provincial leadership and its alleged failure to consult with alliance partners as disrespectful and abusive of the relations alliance partners have in the province. The newly appointed members of the Provincial Executive Council are expected to be sworn in later today. Provincial ANC spokesperson Dumelo Maruping explains.
Post the elections, the ANC received 23 seats in the legislature, and amongst those 23, we then discussed the criteria of comrades we would want to see in the EXCO. And that we did through consultation with the structures, the alliance, and the leagues. And those consultations concluded just 2 days ago. Consultations are meant to help the African National Congress to arrive at a final determination of who fits to lead where. And those consultations were done to the latter.
In other news, the Constitutional Court has ruled in favor of asset management firm Coronation Fund managers. The ruling follows the Supreme Court of Appeal judgment in February, where the firm was instructed to pay almost 800 million rand in tax. SARS brought the initial case against Coronation, but the fund manager took its fight all the way to the Constitutional Court. Nothando Magudulela reports.
The asset management firm has welcomed the judgment, saying that its interpretation and application of the relevant tax legislation has been correct and appropriate. Since the judgment has been handed down, Coronation's share price rose as much as 5%. According to SENS, given the judgment, shareholders are advised that caution is no longer required when dealing with the company's securities.
Lastly, heavy rains have killed 9 people in southern China. State media described the flooding in some areas as a once-in-a-century occurrence. The BBC's Celia Hudson reports.
Video released by state media from China's southern Guangdong province shows rushing river water engulfing a bridge, causing it to give way, and mountainsides that have collapsed onto highways below. Emergency crews are shown helping elderly people through knee-deep mud in one video, lifting babies to safety above chest-high water in another. China is experiencing 2 extremes: heavy rain in the south and persistent drought and record-high temperatures in the north.
Recapping the top story this hour, a joint damning report has recommended that officials from the Northern Cape Transport Department implicated in fraud and maladministration allegations be held accountable. Headlines at 1:30 for SAFM News. I am Dineo Motaung.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 105 FM in Pietermaritzburg.
Think bigger than just a banking partner. Think a team of specialized experts supporting you to make better financial decisions to enable your growth aspirations. Think a strategic partnership providing indispensable advice to help you make the right moves. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. For more information, visit nedbank.co.za. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider.
Hey, what's up, South Africa? Mzansi, Msizi Shembe from Metro FM. Do join me on Saturday at 6 p.m. as I'll be on Deal or No Deal Celebrity. Looking forward to see you there.
SAFM Youth Month Takeover. SAFM invites young people between the ages of 18 to 35 to take over the airwaves this Youth Month. All you have to do is send a WhatsApp voice note or text message to 061 410 4107 or email info@safm.co.za. Tell us which show you'd like to co-host and what the two compelling issues facing our 30 years of democracy are, and we could be calling you. Terms and conditions apply. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
It is a Zex Bantwini. That is how we kick off this Friday afternoon. As you know, on Fridays, it's always chilled here on The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. Every single weekday, 1 until 3 o'clock. He's got that big show that's coming out in just a matter of days. In about 2 weeks, actually, he's going to be celebrating 20 years in the music industry. And he's taking the celebration to Durban come Friday, the 5th of July. So that is the Friday preceding the Durban July, and it's a star-studded lineup featuring the likes of Mikasa, Sjava, Youngstana, Kelvin Momo is coming through, Major League DJs, Sun Al Musician, Drega, Stanky, Jay Spoo. The list goes on and on and on. Joyous Celebration, Nandi Madida, T-Bow Touch, and so it goes. And so Durban is going to be set ablaze come the 5th of July as they celebrate 20 years of Zex Bantwini's journey in the music industry. I just literally, as we were playing the song, I hit him up on message and I said to him, but what you're not doing is you're not marketing the show enough. With 2 weeks to go, by now we should be seeing that it's completely sold out, given the lineup and given, of course, that it is in celebration of such an incredible South African creative and artist, right? But yeah, let us know if you do go there. That is how we kick things off from our side. We've got a packed show today, but we're taking it easy because it is Friday. So, on Fridays, we also like to kekeleza just a little bit and unwind and get ready for the weekend that lies ahead. So we're going to be catching up with an artist, Tebogo, who actually initiated a National Arts Festival Stokvel, and is going to tell us more about that particular Stokvel and what inspired it, and of course how it's been going since its initiation. I'm sure it's something that's quite useful, particularly for creatives that are trying to get out to the arts festival. We're also going to be celebrating the 10th International Day of Yoga. It is Yoga Day. I think it was yesterday. In fact, I stand to be corrected. It could be today. Yoga Day. We're going to be chatting to a yogi about the benefits of yoga. And then on the other side of 2 o'clock, we are going to be catching up with a cast member of a brand new production. Tebogo Mogale, director for this one, is going to be joining us in conversation. And of course, I'll tell you more of what's coming up on the other side of 2. I'm also a little excited about this conversation, and we were hoping to get him in studio, but we'll see how that unfolds as we celebrate 3 decades of an incredible broadcaster, really a radio man extraordinaire, Wilson B. Nkosi. But we'll tell you more about that on the other side of 2 o'clock. So here's the question that I want to ask, because we are going to be talking around Stokvels, and we've seen a lot of skepticism as well as a lot of scandal that has come to the fore around Stokvels. I want to find out from you, if you've been a part of a Stokvel and if it went awry, if the Stokvel went left, if it didn't end up doing what it was supposed to do, or the person who was running the Stokvel or the group that was put in charge of the Stokvel were completely so disorganized that the Stokvel it literally just crumbled into nothingness. And I'm asking this because I was saying to my producers, there was an influencer on the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, who allegedly ran away with thousands of money belonging to South Africans. So she was an influencer who would speak a lot around finances and money, and at some point teased the idea of having a December grocery Stokvel. She teased it around about 2021, 2022, that perhaps we should come together and have a December grocery Stokvel. People bought into the idea. Fast forward to 2020, the beginning of 2023, people, started reminding her that, hey, we should do this December grocery Stokvel. We should do the Stokvel. And then accounts were created, banking information was shared, and strangers, virtually strangers who didn't know her except for her handle and the interactions that they had with her on Twitter, started sending her money for this December grocery Stokvel. Fast forward to December of 2023, when the story broke that she'd absconded with thousands, tens of thousands of rands of people's money. People never saw their December grocery. They never saw money in their bank accounts. They never, and for years, this person has been a social media influencer, particularly on Twitter, talking finances, talking money. She'd gained followings of thousands. People trusted her. People thought her information was legitimate. People thought that she was a legitimate professional in the financial world. I'm not sure if she was or was not, but she absconded with thousands of people's money. If you're on Twitter, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But we're going to keep the name out of the conversation. So I just want to know from you if you've been a part of a Stokvel that went left, that went sour, and ended up not bearing the fruit that you had hoped it would bear for you. You can definitely send us a voice note on 061-410-4107. That is our WhatsApp line. Or 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on.
Municipal services play a vital role in keeping our city safe, clean, and functional. By paying for municipal services like your water bill, you're investing in the future of the city of Johannesburg's water supply. Paying for your services is not just a transaction, but a commitment to the sustainability of your community. Let's continue to pave the way for a brighter tomorrow, one payment at a time. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Not every grand idea turns out the way it was envisioned. You know what I'm talking about. That attempted upside-down kiss inspired by that superhero in the pouring rain that resulted in pneumonia and broken bones. That Tokyo drifting that ended up in an embarrassing explanation to your insurance. That online order going through your partner's phone. Hi, cut. Join Richard Hammond as he takes you on a journey of clips from the main show that highlights some of their boldest stunt attempts, a number of which didn't go as planned. Tune into Top Gear, Ambitious and Rubbish, Fridays at 9 p.m. to channel your inner vroom with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up.
And we will buy 500 cars, and we will buy 500 more. Just to be the one who buys your car, will come to you and offer more. We buy cars, we buy cars. Da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-da-da. We buy cars, we buy cars. Da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-da-da.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
You're listening to Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
It is the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM, leading the conversation on this Friday afternoon. I hope you're having a great Friday thus far. We're taking things nice and slow and easy on our side. And we begin the conversation with Tebogo Ngubane, who is an artist. And we're talking around this particular Stokvel, which is centered on the National Arts Festival, and I'm presuming targeting folks that actually want to go out to the festival, but perhaps are financially constrained and looking for an interesting way to save up for every cost that comes with mobilizing towards Gqeberha for the month of activities. Tebogo, how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Bridget?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much. So we know that obviously, attending the festival is on the bucket list of so many people, particularly creatives. But it's also very much a costly affair when you think about the logistics, when, the travel, having to fly in, the ground logistics, the accommodation, everything that just comes with it. So I can only imagine that a well-organized, reputable Stokvel can sort of mitigate around the shock and the impact of the finance.
Yeah, I must say, Bridget, it's quite pricey to come to Makhanda for the festival every year. But with the so much beautiful experience that I've had in Makhanda, each year I'd recruit a friend to come through to the festival. And I ended up saying, you know what? I am going to share how I actually save for the festival. That's how the Stokvel, the NEF Stokvel was born. So what we do is we save 500 from September until May. What then that does is we pay forward the accommodation and the ticketing and the transport from Johannesburg to Makanda. And it has been seamless for the past 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. Now, so you pay 500 every single month. Talk to us about how the Stokvel works. So you've convened together a group of people that all know each other, and then you guys save as a collective in the tradition of Stokvels in one piggy bank? Or do you hold each other accountable to say, hey, Bridget, have you saved up your 500 this month?
Well, it started with people that I know personally, and now it has branched out to other artists and art lovers and people who follow my page and love what they see at the festival. So we bank under one bank account, which is my account, and I prefer it from people from Gauteng because that's where I'm from. So I engage with the people and we have a meeting, like a live meeting before, so that you can see me. We meet at one spot and we speak about what to expect, how much we are saving and things like that. So in trusting that your money is going to the right place, I am always available. I let people know where they can find me and I update them. Once I've made a payment of the accommodation, then I show them proof of payment that it's done, it's sorted, it's out of the way.
Yeah. Now, it seems like you've taken a lot of responsibility upon yourself, Tebogo. You are the sole administrator of from what I'm gathering, of the Stokvel and the logistics. How do you then manage all of those logistics? Because now you guys must all agree where you're staying. You must all agree on when are you all flying. It's so many logistics.
I've got a template, Bridget. You know, like with coming to Makanda since I was, I think, 11. I almost know the venues that would accommodate people who like to travel. So I work hand in hand with the venues I've used prior. So I've got 3 venues that I use for the high-end people, for the middle people, and for those who just want, basic roof to sleep and go watch shows and party. So when I present this, I get quotations first from the venues, and then I present them to the people and say, hi, where do you think your budget is around here? And then they get to choose where their budget is. So that's where their money goes, under that pocket.
Okay. And have you...
And it
yeah?
Sorry, it doesn't necessarily feel like administration to me because I take productions every year and this is part of my portfolio. So to me, it's like adding on 1 person or 2 people like every year.
Okay. So it's not cumbersome for you?
Nah, not at all.
Now, have there been challenges that you've encountered whilst organizing this Makanda Stokvel?
Well, there are challenges. Some people will tell you that I'm no longer coming. And we've received a discount because we are bringing 10 people. Now there's 9 people and that discount is no longer applicable. So we now quickly have to find someone else that wants to come through. And then that person, we need to arrange, and we can't go back to the accommodation and say, hi, please give us Bridget's portion of the deposit, because I've already taken the money. So people, they really have to wait until we find someone to replace them, and then we take money from there and transfer it to them directly. But the people that have joined the Stokvel so far are people that are on holiday around this time, teachers, and people that take leave and they just want to be themselves for themselves.
Okay. And then talk to me about managing transparency. As much as we're talking about Stokvels, and I'm sure you heard me earlier on about just relaying that story on social media of the finance lady who squandered people's monies. Talk to me about transparency, because people will talk about, but you're giving money to somebody that you've never met. It's one thing when it's your friends, right? Your friends know you. They know where to find you. They know where you live. So there's a trust that's already built there because there's an existing relationship. But it's another thing if a complete stranger maybe hears about you and says, I want to be a part of this. How do you navigate around the transparency element of it and the trust that needs to be built with this new person coming into this Makanda Stokvel?
Well, Bridget, it's really up to you as the investor in the Stokvel to trust me. I really can't persuade you to join the Stokvel, because what I do then is I share the pictures of my previous trip, or I take you down to what this festival really is. And if you're really not into the arts that much, you want to groove, you want to hang out for beer gardens and all the other things that are not focused on art.
Yeah.
So I give you that well balanced round off feel of what this could be for you. And then if you buy into it, you're buying into it. I can't really dig deep to say, oh, please come through. No.
Yes. Right. No, I hear you. I think, Tebogo, you sound, for me, you sound more like it's a friends Stokvel, and it's friends of friends and friends of friends. So let's have a link to each other, so that even you yourself as the administrator, because you're doing this out of your own love and just passion and, and having the time to organize people. So it's like, please bring me people that come with a referral nabo themselves to lessen the headache of all of the personal admin.
It's like me saying to you, Vuvotelo sells the best cakes in Rosebank, and you'd want to go try them, and the person that tries them, they're going to go tell the others that, they've got best cakes there, so it's similar to the Stokvel. So when you do get an opportunity to come down to Makanda, I make sure that all these things that I sell to you and that you see on the pictures, you get to experience them. And once that bug hits you, you are then, I'm not doing the work. You are going back to the people and saying, try something new. Here's something that I did. I came back refreshed. I learned new things. And also what this does is when people go back to Joburg or Pretoria or wherever, then they start following the theatre, in their places where they stay. So basically, that's what it does.
Absolutely. Tebogo, hold on for me for a second. Let's take the headline news. I want to come back on the other side. There's somebody here who wants to ask you specifically about your Stokvel. So just hang 10 for us, and we'll still 2 minutes on the other side of the headline news.
With the headlines at 1:30, I'm Dino Motaung. Good afternoon. A Durban mother and son have been laid to rest in Saudi Arabia after they both passed away during the annual Hajj pilgrimage to the Kaaba in Makkah. In other news, a joint damning report has recommended that officials from the Northern Cape Transport Department implicated in fraud and maladministration allegations be held accountable. And Eastern Cape Premier Oscar Mabuyane has introduced 2 new members of the Executive Council as part of his 7th administration. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
As we wind down our conversation with Tebogo Ngubane, who is an artist and of course has got the Makanda Stokvel that he started with his friends. It's now spiraled out of their friendship circle to include friends of friends and friends of friends and other people who are who get recommended to maybe try the Stokvel. Uvuyo wanted to find out something specifically about your Stokvel. Tebogo, Uvuyo, how are you?
I'm fine, Sister January.
Ngiyapilunjani.
Fine.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to say I like the initiative to try and organize people to go to Grahamstown. Oh, that's another thing, sis.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please call the old names in the new name? Because these new names, I'm telling you, for me, really, they're confusing.
We will forgive you because the sidebar says that you are wrapped up somewhere in Europe. So we'll forgive you for your little confusion. But the rest of South Africans are not confused, Galog. They know when we say Kabeha Skulumangan, Nemakanda Skulumangan.
And then the city, I like this. And then I always feel, because I've been there a couple of times, I love myself to be in Grahamstown when the time I was there. I thought since the festival is not promoted enough in South Africa, to be honest. And it's buzzing there. It's very nice.
Okay. Thank you for your share, Vuyo. Thank you very much. So not so much, Tebogo, not so much a question, but more of a comment to say appreciating what you are doing out there. For anybody that wants to check out your Stokvel, where do they go and just get a feel for the last couple of years? What's your digital footprint?
Okay, so my Facebook page is Tebogo Art Slave. So I'm Tebogo Art Slave right throughout the social media. So if anyone wants to get a hold of me, they can inbox me, DM me from there, and then I can engage with them and send them a presentation via WhatsApp.
Okay, cool. All right. Tebogo, thank you so much for the time. That was Tebogo Ngubane. And of course, as you said, as he says, he's Tebogo Art Slave across all of his social media platforms. So if you want to get in contact with him, that's where you can go. And hopefully it works out for you. Please don't double back to me if something happens or if you feel like you're not satisfied or you can always take your feedback to Tebogo and not myself, right? We are just sharing information as it was relayed with us. Our lines are open. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on. And whilst we're talking around Stokvels, we just want to know, what has your experience with Stokvels been? Have you been a part of a Stokvel, be it a family Stokvel or a Stokvel yabangani, yadichomi, or a Stokvel with the church ladies? Do men do like drinking bar Stokvels? I'm sure they do. I see on social media, guys now have sort of Stokvels for holidays where it's, boys weekend away type vibes. And they do some kind of broing Stokvel in their own way, and they figure out how to save for these boys away weekends over time. But yeah, I want to know the good, the bad of the Stokvels that you've been a part of. It will be great. Let's have a family meeting around that. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. And of course, 086-000-2032. And at the beginning of the show, I was saying that there was the scandal that broke out on social media on the platform X, formerly known as Twitter, where a South African influencer who had tens of thousands of followers on social media, positioned herself as a financial guru expert of sorts for many years, engaging discourse and conversation around finances and savings and great initiatives and how, little hacks and tidbits, and really became trusted by her followers. And then at some point she dangled the carrot of doing a Christmas grocery Stokvel, and she dangled this carrot around 2021, 2022. And so by the time the beginning of 2023 came about, her followers then started saying to her, when are you going to initiate the Stokvel? Do the Stokvel. Ultimately, fast forward, she did the Stokvel, right? She opened up the accounts and gave people the information. Come December of 2023, when the Christmas money is now supposed to be paid out to the thousands of people who've sent her money over the year, she was nowhere to be found. Handles were dismantled, profiles were deleted. She literally absconded. And so on the eve of Christmas, we woke up to all of the chatter on social media, people trying to locate her, people sharing proof of their bank deposits and their debit orders that were going out every single month. People gave her hundreds of rands, thousands of rands, and she literally absconded with people's December grocery money. So this is the conversation that I'm hoping you and I can have. Are you a part of a stokvel, and how has it worked out for you? 061-410-4107. Let us go to WhatsApp.
So I never joined the stokvel, but I know the character in question. And what was always amusing to me was to see her divvying up finance advice and starting the stokvel, and to see so many people support it, one, but also then actively pursue it. I mean, I'm laughing, and it's not a laughing matter. But I watched that whole situation play out with interest, as people put their faith in somebody with really no what's the right word? No bona fides, Thanks for a great show, Bridget. This is Kabelo in Maseru.
Good afternoon, Bridget. You see, when you talk about stokvel, you ignite in me this fear of stokvels as a result of the one that fell apart. I'm talking about the one which my father and his family brothers started some 20 years ago. They opened up a bank account. They put in the money there every month end. After about 3-4 years, they started fighting amongst themselves, and then the stokvel fell apart. Those who were entrusted with powers of putting the money into bank account, they refused to go and withdraw the money so that it can be divided. Some of them passed on. The family of those who passed on refused to give out their death certificate for the remaining ones to go and withdraw the money. After 20 years, even today, the money is still in the bank. Perhaps the question is until when the money will be in the bank, or what the bank will do with the money. Let me remain anonymous.
Sure, anonymous. That sounds like maybe you should get your family should get some kind of legal intervention, right? Maybe lawyers will know how to get that money out of the bank, following the right procedures with the right paperwork and the right verifications to satisfy the bank's own inquiry to make sure that the members. Because wow, interesting. Yeah, but I'm sure. Is it Uncle Jova in the Free State?
Bridget, that's Uncle Joa. Thank you very much. Oh,
Joa. How are you, Uncle Joa?
I'm well, Bridget. And how are you?
I'm great, Malume. I'm great. Go ahead.
Good. My experience, Bridget, is that around 2006, 2007, I joined stokvel, after I was recruited by my colleague at work. And then the stokvel was formed by men who were staying in this location in Velcom that is called Jerusalem Park. And that was also the name of the stokvel. Now, the objectives of the stokvel was for us to come together and contribute every month and identify some business opportunities where we can go and invest. Now, one of the projects that we did was to buy these vendor machines for coupon prepaid electricity. Now, we used one of the guys who was working at Eskom at the time, because everything was done through Eskom at the time. Now we said, no, we are going to go there through you, and then you will help us facilitate the process as a person who was, within. Not because we wanted to do it wrongly or with some other motives, but to say everything was done according to the book. but now we use this person's name. After we acquired that vendor machine, and then it was installed, it started working. Now he came to us and said, no, this vendor machine is actually his property.
Yo? And then, he got cut off, and then he got absconded. Can you imagine? You'll do all the savings to buy this machine, and then you'll put it under person X's name in trusting, and then if person X goes, I'm lo machine, okay, I can't. Okay, let's go to one last voice note, and then we'll get to our next guest. We'll continue the conversation, though, so you can continue sending through your voice notes with your stories around stokvels, particularly stokvels that have went awry in your life that perhaps you've been a part of or family members have been a part of, and the stokvel just went left off center.
Yeah, I wasn't a member of stokvel, but I was scammed by a pyramid scheme called Ants Ranch or something. I lost 3,500. Until today, it's a really painful story for me. But anyway, end of the day, yeah, not nice, ne?
Not nice at all. All right, it's time for us to catch up with our next guest, Sandrika Chetty, who's a certified Vinyasa yoga teacher as well as a mindfulness facilitator, celebrating the 10th International Yoga Day, which is actually today on the 21st of June. How are you doing this afternoon, Sandrika?
I'm all good, thanks. Excited to be here today.
Thank you for the time. So it is the 10th anniversary of Yoga Day. Firstly, I know you won't have the answer to this, but I'm surprised that it took so long for this day to be initiated, because in my mind, I'm figuring the practice of yoga is probably as old as time.
Yes. No, that is true. I also not sure the full reason as to why it took so long, but I think it was the time for it to happen, and it only brought more people to yoga through this initiative.
Absolutely. And the day was designated by the United Nations back in 2014 to raise global awareness of the numerous benefits of yoga. Let's talk firstly about when we speak yoga, because there's so many yoga disciplines or subcultures of yoga. In essence, when we say yoga, what discipline are we making reference to?
I think specifically for the International Yoga Day, it is the practice of yoga. So as you mentioned, that there are various disciplines, there's the yogic mind, there's the sort of philosophy around yoga. But when it comes to this, it's the practice of yoga, of the different styles of yoga. So whether that is the hatha, the vinyasa, ashtanga, the list goes on, but it is the physical practice of yoga during this time.
What are the benefits for yoga? I know one of my broadcasting sisters, Melanie Bala, just got certified just about a year ago as a yoga instructor. She's been trying to recruit everybody to practice yoga. So help her sell the cause, the benefits of practicing yoga.
I think where yoga differs from many other physical forms of exercise, if we had to say, it is a holistic practice, meaning that you're looking at both the physical body, where you're focusing on increasing your strength, your physical strength, you're improving your flexibility, your better balance and coordination, and then also from the mental space, it's also increasing your focus and concentration. It's also a good form of stress relief. Working, both with the mind and the body. And then, of course, emotionally as well. It's that emotional regulation because it's working at the nervous system. It's self-esteem and increase of confidence. And just a calmness and relaxation that yoga brings at the end of the class. Yeah.
And by way of misconceptions, what have you encountered as been some of the more common misconceptions around the practice?
Yes, I think the two big ones is that I'm not flexible, so I can't do yoga. So number one, I don't think many people start flexible doing yoga. Your flexibility is built over time. It's, working at the joints. It's a physical practice. So it's definitely just getting on your mat, starting, and that flexibility will come with time. The more practice of yoga you do, it comes. And two is that, I need to lose weight, or I'm not slim enough to do yoga. Yoga is for everyone. Every body type can do yoga. And there's so many modifications that we can work with for everyone so that everybody's able to practice this.
Yeah. What I've definitely learned through my very limited exploration of yoga, and I say limited, I've probably tried it about 5 times, is that there are some very intense yogas out there. It's not always just, Zen and vocal vibrations. Yeah. You can work up a sweat.
100%. Especially there's now hot yoga, there's power yoga, vinyasa yoga. So there is definitely some cardiovascular benefits with it. But of course, with that, there's, opportunities for beginner yoga, for yin yoga, which is more of like an easy relaxation form of yoga. So there's something for everyone, depending on your fitness goals and what you are looking for from the experience.
And I know you allude a little bit, maybe in our parting shot, in terms of the health benefits, because it can be beneficial on many levels from a health perspective.
Yes, so in terms of, as I mentioned, it cardiovascularly, your health definitely improves, especially with more of the, as you said, the fast-paced styles of yoga. And then, of course, helping you release stress. I think that's the biggest thing. We live in such a fast-paced life that we take very little time to actually release the stress that we're building on a day-to-day basis. So the practice of yoga with the breath work is ultimately releasing a lot of stress and tension that is built up in the body. So from that sense as well, a huge health benefit.
Absolutely. Listen, I commit to maybe sneaking in one more yoga class before the month is over. Shandrika Chetty, thank you so much for the time today. And she's a certified Vinyasa yoga teacher and, of course, a mindfulness facilitator. Today is the 21st of June. It marks the International Yoga Day as designated by the United Nations. And this year's theme is Yoga for Self and Society, to practice a transformative yoga that represents the harmony of both mind and body. 0614104107. Our lines are still open on WhatsApp. I still want to know about your horror Stokvel stories. If you lost some money, if your auntie ran away with your Stokvel proceeds and was nowhere to be found in December. She was living her best life in Cape Town. And why must it always be a woman? 086 000 2032 is the number that you can also call us on. Let's take a quick one with Nalibali.
Water infrastructure vandalism has costly and usually dangerous consequences. Stealing of manhole covers leads to the death of children. Every broken pipe or vandalized pump doesn't just cost money, but it also threatens our access to clean water, disrupts service delivery, and endangers public health and safety. Help us in the fight against water infrastructure vandalism by reporting any suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg on 0800 002 587. Your vigilance can prevent a death or disaster. This message is brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Hey, what's up, South Africa? Mzansi Shembe from Metro FM. Do join me on Saturday at 6 p.m. as I'll be on Deal or No Deal Celebrity. Looking forward to see you there.
SAFM Sunrise with Stephen Grootes.
So despite all of that, you're prepared to work in a government with the DA?
We've always said that we'll work with anyone, and we've worked with the DA before. We want to serve the people. We will work with the DA, and we will drive the DA to a point where the DA goes to a rehabilitation center of racism. So the DA does not want us because we are the only party that can stand up to their apartheid tendencies.
More than the ANC?
We stand up to anyone. We also stand up to the ANC. But at this point in time, we are talking about the DA. We'll deal with it.
Kani Kanene is, of course, the deputy leader of the Patriotic Alliance.
SAFM Sunrise with Stephen Grootes, 6 to 9 a.m.
and welcome to Nali Bali. People with talent are born with natural abilities well above the average for their age. Talent is visible and needs to be nurtured for it to shine even brighter. You can be talented in any area of ability, and you can also be gifted in more than one area. You can be gifted creatively and intellectually, have above average physical coordination and memory, or more social and emotional maturity than other children your age. Children can be talented in different levels too, that some gifted children have more advanced abilities than others. Today's story is called The Hidden Talent, written by Jackie van den Jevel. But before we listen to today's story, let's all get up and
dance!
Young elephant, young lion, young giraffe, young springbok, and young tortoise were playing in the dusty African veld. They always enjoyed spending time together and would play in the tall grass and thorny bushes, chasing each other over the giant rocks and kicking up the brown dust. The birds will sit in the tree overhead and watch them.
Catch this!
Young elephant would say, tossing a small rock with his trunk. Young lion would swipe the rock away with his big paw, saying,
Haha, too easy.
But tortoise could not take part in these games.
Come and race, tortoise!
His friends would joke. Tortoise would laugh, although he was really sad, and say,
I don't want to make you guys feel bad by beating you. I will watch from over here.
One day, young lion roared.
I'm so glad I'm a lion. I'll grow up to be big and strong, and I'll be the king of the entire veld.
Tortoise got a fright out of that loud sound. Young elephant laughed at him and gave a loud trumpet.
When I grow up, I'll be so big and strong that I will push huge trees over. Not even a lion can hunt an adult elephant.
Tortoise got another fright at that loud sound, but he didn't want to show it. Young giraffe laughed at the young lion and elephant.
You two are going to be so big and strong, but you can't reach the juiciest leaves on the top of the trees. Can you see over the trees to spot danger far away? Oh no, only a tall giraffe can.
And he stood up and looked down at them from the top of his long neck. Tortoise struggled to look up that high. Then Springbok said,
Springboks don't worry about being big, strong, or tall. We are so fast that we can get away from cheetah. And we can jump beautifully high.
And Springbok gave a great big hop to show them. Tortoise was starting to feel very sad. As the animals started playfully arguing amongst themselves about who had the best talent, poor young tortoise kept quiet.
I won't grow up to be big, strong, or tall. And I will certainly not be fast either.
He thought. He started to feel quite sad that he didn't have a talent. He watched his friends playing and jumping and pushing over small trees and wished he was more like one of them. Later that day, the friends were heading to the waterhole when they heard a deep rumble of a rainstorm coming their way.
Oh no, guys! Rain is coming, oh my gosh, and I hate getting wet,
said young lion.
Oh, me too,
said young giraffe.
Giraffes always struggle to find shelter because we are so tall.
Yeah, guys, I think maybe we should head back to our families and start looking for shelter.
Said young Springbok as the rain began to fall. Young Tortoise said quietly,
Tortoises don't need to find shelter. We just pull our head and legs into our shells and stay warm and dry.
Tortoise pulled his feet into his bumpy shell to show them.
Wow, Tortoise. That's pretty cool, you know.
Said young Lion.
Yes, I wish I carried my shelter around with me. It would be so useful, especially in this rain.
Said young Giraffe. Lightning split the sky. Young Tortoise started to smile.
Wow, you guys really think so?
Of course, that's so cool.
Said young Springbok. The rain started to pour down in sheets of water.
Yo, guys, I'm getting terribly wet. Let's go, guys. Bye.
Said Springbok. With that, young Springbok, Lion, Giraffe and Elephant all ran off to find a dry place. Tortoise just smiled and pulled his head and legs into his shelter again. As the rain poured down, Tortoise kept warm and dry inside his bumpy shell. And that evening, when young Tortoise lay next to his mother looking up at the sparkling stars, he realized that even if it was hidden, he did have a very special talent after all. And so we come to the end of another Nali Bali story time. Today's story was called The Hidden Talent, written by Yaki van den Jevel. Did you know that reading and telling stories to children at home can help them do better at school? If you want free stories to read to your children or for your children to enjoy on their own, visit Nali Bali website www.nalibali.org or Mobi site www.nalibali.mobi. You will find stories in 11 South African languages, as well as tips for reading and sharing stories with your children to grow their potential. Also look out for the bilingual Nali Bali Reading for Enjoyment supplements with great children's stories and activities available in newspapers. Nali Bali, it starts with a story.
SAFM Youth Month Takeover. SAFM invites young people between the ages of 18 to 35 to take over the airwaves this Youth Month. All you have to do is send a WhatsApp voice note or text message to 061 410 4107 or email info@safm.co.za. Tell us which show you'd like to co-host and what the two compelling issues facing our 30 years of democracy are, and we could be calling you. Terms and conditions apply.
Top stories: SA Hajj pilgrimage victims laid to rest, and UK hospitals hackers publish stolen blood test data. With the news, I am Dino Mutaung. Good afternoon. A Durban mother and son have been laid to rest in Saudi Arabia after they both passed away during the annual Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. 27-year-old Ibrahim Khan died first, and a few days later his mother Shireen also passed away. Hafez Ishmael Kolvadia is from the South African Hajj and Umrah Council.
The son passed away 6 days before the mother passed away. He was an energetic young person, 27 years of age. Alhamdulillah, there was nothing wrong with him. He had no medical conditions. On the eve of his death, he basically sort of collapsed, got a heart attack, and he passed on. As far as the mother is concerned, obviously she was depressed and she was in a state of mind. But alhamdulillah, she completed her pilgrimage. She did what she had to do as far as the Hajj was concerned. And subsequently, she came in for some treatment. And while on the treatment, she then breathed her last.
In other news, a joint damning report has recommended that officials from the Northern Cape Transport Department implicated in fraud and maladministration allegations be held accountable. The investigation by the Office of the Public Protector and the Public Service Commission, PSC, has revealed serious improper conduct by officials in the issuing of taxi operating licenses. Provincial PSC Commissioner Anele Qoyiya says the entire system of issuing taxi operating licenses has been compromised.
People were going to the department as if they are going to a shop. They walk in, they come out with licenses. And those people who followed the necessary procedure, the prescribed procedure, they took forever. Others, it's been 3 years. They have not received those operating licenses. There are even instances where some of the people are having operating licenses, but they have no taxis.
In Mpumalanga, the MEC for Public Works, Roads and Transport, Thulasizwe Thomo, has supported a call for President Cyril Ramaphosa to consider appointing young people as ministers, deputy ministers and MECs. ANC Youth League President Colin Malachi made the call at a media briefing yesterday. Thomo says his department would prioritize hiring young people.
We have agreed in relation to the road infrastructure potholes. We have agreed that we need to rope in those that went to colleges to source skills as engineers and so on and so forth. There are posts that are already vacant, about 43. They must be immediately advertised in Mpumalanga. Then we absorb these young people who are going to be qualified. So that is where we are. We have a number of programs, your internships and so on and so forth as the department.
Moving to the Eastern Cape, Premier Oscar Mabuyane has introduced 2 new members of the Executive Council as part of his 7th administration. Mabuyane announced his new provincial executive in Bisho. Ndandokazi Kapa has been appointed as the new Health MEC, replacing Nomakhosazana Math, who has been moved to Parliament, while Sibulele Ngongo is the new MEC for Sports, Arts and Culture and Recreation, taking over from Nonxeba Konziwe, who has been reshuffled to the Department of Rural Development and Agrarian Reform. Sidi Mamfeku filed this report.
Mabuyane has also reconfigured the Department of Finance, Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism. The new MEC for Finance is Mlungisi Mvoko, while Nonqubela Peters will be the MEC for Economic Development, Environmental Affairs and Tourism. Mabuyane has also merged the Department of Human Settlements with Public Works and Infrastructure Development. Former Human Settlements MEC Siphokazi Manilu City will be leading this merged department, and Transport and Safety MEC Xolile Nqatha, Zolile Williams, Kokta MEC will remain in these 2 departments, and Fundile Kade will also keep his portfolio as Education MEC.
Lastly, cyber criminals who targeted several hospitals in London have published sensitive data stolen from a blood testing company working for the National Health Service. Chillen, the group that attacked the firm earlier this month, had previously threatened to publish the data on the darknet. The BBC's Joe Tidy has more details.
Overnight, Chillen did what they've been threatening. Hundreds of spreadsheets and documents are now online for free for other hackers to download. Patient names, NHS numbers, date of births, and what tests they've had are in the vast data dump. Its publication tells us that Synovis hasn't paid a ransom. As well as stealing the data, the hackers scrambled the company's IT systems, causing huge disruption to operations and appointments as doctors try to find alternative services. Chillen claimed the attack was a protest against the UK government for not helping out in an unspecified war.
Recapping the top story this hour, a Durban mother and son have been laid to rest in Saudi Arabia after they both passed away during their annual Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. Headlines at 2:30 for SAFM News. I am Dina Motaung.
SAFM, leading the conversation.
Are you ready to empower yourself with an accredited tertiary qualification? Stadio Higher Education's distance learning programs will set you up for success. Whether you're balancing work and family or you're a school leaver who must work to support yourself and your studies, Stadio offers access to high-quality, affordable qualifications in law, teacher education, commerce, admin and management, policing, and more. Mid-year applications are now open. Visit stadio.ac.za and register today. Stadio, a new vision in higher education.
Durban is open for business and investment. A large delegation from the United States of America, including captains of industry, business, investors, finances, decision makers, and high-profile leaders will attend the 2024 Resurgence Durban Conference to explore and maximize investment opportunities in Durban. Be part of the Resurgence Durban Conference taking place at the Durban ICC from the 17th to the 21st of July 2024. Durban is forging ahead with its plan of action that is aimed at boosting trade and investments within South Africa, the African continent, and the rest of the world. Businesses must register now to exhibit at the conference. Closing date is the 30th of June 2024. To register for the Resurgence Durban Conference and for more information, visit www.resurgenceconference.org.
In the heart of darkness, a beacon of light emerges. A brand new season is coming your way with your 2024 Miss South Africa Top 30. Hosted by our reigning queen, Miss South Africa, we embark on a transformative journey. Join us for the spectacular new season of Crown Chasers.
Crown Chasers is back.
Starts 29 June at 8:30 p.m. only on S3 Open Up.
SAFM Youth Month Takeover. SAFM invites young people between the ages of 18 to 35 to take over the airwaves this Youth Month. All you have to do is send a WhatsApp voice note or text message to 061 410 4107 or email info@safm.co.za. Tell us which show you'd like to co-host and what the two compelling issues facing our 30 years of democracy are, and we could be calling you. Terms and conditions apply. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
we live upon. These streets that we walk upon, they give us light.
It is J something coming through. Well, not just J something. Dr. Duda, Moti, and together they make Mikasa. These Streets is the name of this particular song. And that is how we entered the second hour of the show. By the way, as per usual, we are live streaming. And on Fridays, it gets interesting, right? Especially after 2 o'clock when we have some guests in studio. And they tend to be very creative guests that come through and share our Friday afternoons with us. And today is no different. I've got joining me Tebogo. Let me just put the screen down. Tebogo Mogale, who is a director and a writer, and Simpho Matenjwa, who is an actor. And they are in studio. I still have the right actor joining me in studio, right? So many things happening in the background. Line of sight for my producer. Sorry, they didn't orientate to have a line of sight with them, during the course of the show. There's a lot that's happening. So if you're on live streaming, this is why we live stream. So you can see all the behind the scenes of what happens on radio as well, especially when we have guests. And today we are here to talk about He's Not Ready, which is directed by the multi-talented Tebogo Mogale and stars a host of people. Tell us about it. And of course, Aput Simpho, you're also in this one.
Of course.
No? Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Simpho Matenjwa is in this one. Before we get started, maybe let's have a little sound bite. Let's see if we've got the trailer ready.
Zang, zang.
Guess it's gonna be your new work wife.
What?
Barry, he who finds a wife. Boss just teamed us up. And I think, it'll be good prep for your marriage.
Finds a good thing. Yo, Beast, Z's acting up, dog. She wants to yalla like now.
Dog, come on, man. Of course, I'm done with chat for the everything. Aren't you guys training for like 10 years now?
Why would we need to put labels on this?
Labels? Am I a piece of clothing to you, Tabo? Something like the labels.
Mara mama. Oh, wow.
Marriage is a long-term commitment. February, yes, more, more. Or no.
I didn't even know you were the serious type, eh?
No. It's not serious.
It's not.
I really never saw you as the marriage type. I mean, do you even love her like that? Like, you guys barely even know each other, right?
There's no such thing as who's the one, okay? Who's the one who must after Mchati Lebang who's the one, all right?
Ranyadi Sabasaba. Honane Mushimani. Oitenyena. Wabatawamunna.
But I don't even understand how a boy can string along such a beautiful soul like Uzonke for 7 years, an entire 7 years, Tabo, without showing any real intent.
We champion. When a champion.
We champion. When a champion.
And didn't you get a how you hold Imojake? Come could Jacqueline some topi. I got a spot. Yeah.
And I thought that was the end of it. Meanwhile, not so much. He's Not Ready is the name, the title of the movie. And we've got the director-writer, Tebogo Mokhali, joining us in studio. We just heard a bit of the trailer there.
Yes.
It is a rom-com, South African rom-com.
South African rom-com, love story about a young man who's in a long-term relationship with his girlfriend, Zonke.
Okay.
And as all relationships go, we know that question is coming up sometime.
Yes.
What are we doing? When are we going to get married? And it's up to Tabo to go on a journey and process that and figure out how he's going to answer that question.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's always so tricky for the guys. Always so tricky. Aput Simpo, you are part of the cast of this one.
Yes.
Tell me the character that you were playing in the synopsis.
I'm playing the character of Fingers, which is the uncle of one of the main characters there.
Okay.
So Fingers handlantle u rekisa di ring. Just to give you like a reference, you know Hunali, that Malome that you grew up admiring, and then they go to jail and then they come back, and then for some reason, their mind is still trapped in the era where they used to be like the uncle. So now they come into this sort of like a new world, but they're still having those tendencies. So it's that uncle.
Okay.
You love them, but you don't trust them.
I mean, I see they clearly cast the right character or the right person as this character, because if you are live streaming and you see the mannerism of a Simple in studio,
I got scared myself sitting next to him.
Like the hands are flying.
Are you saying I'm typecasted?
I
know.
That is the term indeed. You are being typecast right there. Let's talk about the journey to He's Not Ready.
Yes.
Where did the idea for this script come about?
Wow. That comes about from having friends who are in that. So I myself, my friends, we're in that space where that talk is prevalent. I think age is no longer on our side, and most of us are getting that question. Whoever's in a long-term relationship, or there's next steps to go through now. It's time to be serious, and so that comes from there, and the fact that we can relate to the issues that we all have. So what's stopping you from pulling the trigger? Why not just get married? Why is it not just as simple as, we love each other, let's do it?
Yes.
So it's exploring those deterrents that keep us from doing it.
Yeah. Let's also understand the process of writing a film, right? Because you can have the idea, but from the idea developing into a full 2-hour movie concept, it must be quite a journey.
It is. It's definitely a journey. I think you get humbled after you think you have the idea and you start writing. You look at a blank page, I have this idea, and at the end of it, you've only got 2 lines. You realize you're a long way from a story.
Yeah.
But over time, I think stories are written over time. And so this particular one took over about 1.5 years that you write and you leave it alone and you go away. Life happens, come back, something triggers, and you just keep going as time goes. That's the only way. Or at least that's the only way I know.
Right? And then by way of the characters, so you're now developing the story over 18 months.
Yes.
And with it are all these characters. And I can imagine if you're saying that it almost came because of the genesis of where you found yourself in life, that the first protagonist that was written then probably is the groom to be in this case, right?
Not myself, but yes. You're right.
Not yourself, but and then the others, our Uncle Fingers, came along as part of that.
Exactly.
How does that work itself out? So you want your protagonist and the love interest lady, and then you start filling in yonke into else that goes around them.
Yes.
Walk us through how creatively that brain process works.
Yeah. So in that brain process, you have a structure that you want to follow. So there's always going to be an A story. But as things go, what happens to these people who are the characters. Maybe let me also preface by saying for a long time, I myself was a wedding photographer. So I would be in spaces where you are a fly on the wall, people forget about you, and you get to witness all the drama that happens in people's lives and the characters that keep coming in. There's an aunt, there's this uncle who's out of place, and he's trying to run the show. So that fuels the process or the ideas that come up. And you're like, oh yeah, imagine if this uncle was in this character's life.
Yes.
How would what would that relationship look like? How would they respond to each other? And that's how you build.
Yeah. And then interesting. So once all that is said and done, then you cast the people that you cast. And then we get people here like Simpo who get cast as Uncle Fingers, Malum Fingers. And now you have to take the words that Tebogo has written with his creative collaborators of producers. And you have to then put a 4D dimensional person to it. For you as an actor, what is that like?
Okay. First, to answer that question is, like as actors, especially South African actors, we unfortunately, we are living in a third world country, but there's illusion that we are in a first world country. So the preparation of somebody who lives in a first world country and a third world country, it's very different. So in the States, for example, you'd find like an actor, they literally prepare for a role.
Yeah.
So if you get a role, you can have something like 6 months just to concentrate on that role. And if you are not
Tebogo doesn't have that budget to pay you for 6 months.
Like never mind Tebogo, like even the bills.
Yeah.
So you'd find that the stories or the characters that are written, like you get cast today, and then 3 days you have to shoot. So you have to work with what you are given. So you almost use like the self as an archive to generate that character. But in those other countries, even if you are not a working actor, you get like a stipend.
Yes.
So with this character in particular, there's a guy, like a famous musician. He's going to swear at me, this guy, for mentioning his name. His name is Max Hover.
Yes, Max, yes.
Yeah, so I play him.
Okay.
So at some point, Max was my boss. And we used to like do like mind activation. And I was so fascinated the way like he moves. And I was like, you know what? If I had a budget, I would play Max. So it has been like I've been building Max in my imagination privately for like 2 years, being around Max. And when this opportunity came, I was like, no, Bansuela guy. So I had my preparation for 2 years watching Max. So I would say for me, preparing for this character was a privilege. It's one of those, if you ask like an actor who's like a thespian or who has studied this, there are some characters that they would like to play. Like maybe I'd like to play like a psychopath so that I can be able to exhibit my ability. But in the South African context or the third world country, you don't have that privilege because of time and resources.
Yeah.
But for me, I was able to be at the right place. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah. And at the right time to be able to land this role and play someone that I've been sort of like fantasizing.
Yes.
And having a sort of desire to play him. And him being like an open director, he said, let's go for it. Because I gave him 3 auditions.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the 3. And then on the third one, which was Max, I was like, no, here I'm taking a chance. Let me just send it. And when it came back, he was like, no. Then I was like, no, but this is a real person. It's not something.
So Max Hober, wherever you are, you know that you've been an inspiration for Uncle Fingers Max, and we've got the audio. When it's time for you to claim your performance royalties, we have got the audio
from Fingers.
From Fingers, not from production, but from Fingers. So you had 3 rounds of auditions for this. Was it because you had something in your mind, Tebogo, about the how the story needed to be told and the different characters?
Yes.
Or was it because there was just such a pool of people for you to really go through?
Both end. I think we were pleasantly surprised at how many people wanted to audition for the roles.
Mm.
That was a very, like, it just caught us off guard. We're generally a smaller production company, so we didn't think that would happen. And so that was one thing. But also, because of the number of people that were auditioning, that just generally lends itself to more options.
Yes.
You know, there's more than 3 to 4 good people for that role, and so you have to do a second, maybe even a third, just to be sure that you are getting the right person. So it was that process.
All right. I mean, you know, and was it face-to-face auditions or was it sent through tape?
Both ends.
Okay.
Yes. So we had face-to-face, which were very good, but we did give the option of self-tape, and you know, he sent self-tapes.
Yeah.
And there was a first brief, a second brief, you know, and we'd seen guys who auditioned live for the role. But when he sent that third one, no ways. It was such a mind blower.
Tell me this,
that
because
you have to see it.
I had this conversations
see it.
with, for instance, the late Tebogo Motlatsi around how they work at BOM, you know, and half the time they write with people in mind. They conceptualize the character with a specific actor in mind, and so that translation goes hand to. And I think anyone who watches their productions, you can almost see that that's their work process, right? And then they'll obviously have the other end where they do throw out an open call and say, let's see the interpretation. And it's interesting with each director what tips the scales in favor of a particular actor. And on what is it about you when you cast? You know, what is that, the magic sauce the kids would say that you are looking for?
That's something beyond the eyes.
So for me personally, we generally like to start at a place where be open. Be open. So I have a wish list. After writing, not during writing, after writing, there's a wish list. So I'll put 10 people that I have seen do a similar role. But then I try to negate that because I'm like, no, but that's typecasting. You're doing that because you've seen that actor do something similar, which means that your film will then look similar to other films. So that's just I guess I call it like just a mark, a guide.
Point.
It's a reference point. But being open to be pleasantly surprised at different interpretation. I know the heart of what I'm looking for. So if that actor or actress can give me the heart, but also infuse themselves, because I'm like, where can you take it? On paper, it's this far, but let's see how much further you can take it, and that's generally my process.
All right, let's hold it there for a quick second for Danae Mutahung with the headline news, and then we'll come back and continue the conversation on the other side.
Thank you very much, Bridget. Good afternoon. Let's take a look at the headlines at 2:30. The city of Cape Town has welcomed the Department of Public Works application for an eviction order to remove homeless people who are unlawfully occupying the area around the Castle of Good Hope. In other news, an investigation by the Public Protector and Public Service Commission in the Northern Cape has revealed that some taxi operating permits were leased to other drivers while some were sold, and a Durban mother and son have been laid to rest in Saudi Arabia after they both passed away during the annual Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
As we continue the conversation with my guests in studio. So Beyond the Eyes Network is thrilled to announce the release of their new, highly anticipated romantic comedy, He's Not Ready, and it's directed by the multi-talented Tebogo Mokgadi, who's joining me in studio. Now, alongside him is actor Simpho Matendra, who is Uncle Fingers in this particular rom-com story, as we get to know the two of them better and, of course, unpack the process of filmmaking and getting into characters and getting out of characters. Tell me this, but simple. How is it working with Tebogo? Because different directors work different ways, right? I know he's in the room. Just pretend like he's not in the room. He's already paid your paycheck. It's fine. What kind of a director is he?
He's he's an open director. You know, with the kind of directing that he does, you find it mostly with directors who've been doing this for a long time. So we don't have something to prove, and we just there and just trust in the process. So you'd find that with young directors, they want to like sort of like control everything.
Yeah.
But with him, he was like just chilled. And so it was quite a pleasure, you know, to work with him. So he reminded me of some older directors that I used to work with. They're chilled. They trust that you can deliver without like
micromanaging.
Micromanaging. Yes, thank you for that, Bridget.
And do you enjoy that process more? That sort of freedom as an artist to expand yourself and your character?
Yes, to some point.
Yeah.
Like with this character that I was playing, something that is sort of like beyond me. So I needed to have that freedom so that I am freer to explore. And then only after exploring, then, you know, like as a director would say, no, okay, tighten this one, do this one. But you need sort of like that freedom to, that space to be free so that you're able to craft. Because for me, any character that I do, I have not arrived, but I find myself sort of growing into the character. Even when the principal photography is finished, you find yourself like, no, but I could grow even more in this character. So it is never like arrived. So having that space to really grow even in the process, it's very helpful. Unlike finding a director like we need to arrive, like you need to do this, and sometimes they give you references of people that they have seen. And as an actor, you'd find that like your strength and your ability, you can't go there depending on the kind of methods that you use, like as an actor. But you have given those references. You try to, like for a gangster, you know, like when Babatla, like you play gangster, like the reference that the directors would give you would like, no, orange.
Darlington.
Or you understand? Yes. But forgetting like Yana Darlington, like the kind of character that he plays like a gangster that he has seen in his era.
Yes.
So how about like Simpo play a gangster? If Simpo was a gangster, how will then Simpo be? So now you're starting to craft something like very different. So you need somebody who's very patient to help you craft this. So like we're now like popcorn, microwave.
Yes.
No, it must be like cook it now. Like this is what we want, and not allow. As long as you have not seen this on TV, then we can invest like in it. So with him, it was sort of like the other way around.
I mean, it's a good sentiment that Simple brings up, right? Because I think a lot of times creating film drama, it's a collaborative thing.
It is.
And you'd hear even actors at the highest echelons of Hollywood and directors, a lot of the times the projects that come out interesting is where there's a mutual trust between the two. When we watch those packs of behind the scenes where directors go, I just let them go on set and do what they needed to do, even if it meant changing my words to fit the story and the character.
Right.
But it takes a lot from a director to release in that way.
It does. But also understanding that it is, like you say, it's a very big team sport.
Yeah.
And it's not does the director win, it's not does the team win. So that, and also I guess experience and background, how you enter the space of directing also plays a role. So I would have entered it more so from the cinematography side. So there's directors who are, what does the frame look like?
Yes.
That's really where the panic is. You know, I know they're good. So like I trust that I know you're good. We've ran through the auditions. I know you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But let's focus on what the shot is going to look like. That's where it's more pedantic.
In fact, while we're there, Tebuko, let's give a shout out then to your DOP. Because I think DOPs are the unsung heroes of a lot of stories that are told. Because we never invite the director of photography to sit here. And yet the director of photography on the set is as equal to his unit as you are.
Exactly right. And it's often the most overlooked part of filmmaking, but the most important, because that's the picture. That's who how the camera moves, where it's, you know, that communicates a lot in a film outside of the performance, But there are those who do enter the directing side from the actor's perspective.
Yes,
so they would probably want to be more hands-on. Like, I want my character to feel and say, and I guess it's just a different experience.
Very interesting.
It's very interesting, Bridget, that you asked that question. I'm wondering in my mind, how will the conversation be? You interviewing the DOP, from him speaking, like when I was capturing this shot, this performance meant this and this. So it's something that is interesting.
I'll put on my archives Kabelo, who I think is one of the. What's Kabelo's surname? He's one of the most talented DOPs I think we have in this country. Started off as a photographer as well, and then moved on to DOP. Just tells a story incredibly. But I think also on that point that you talk about. Directors, and I call them actors directors,
right?
Directors who are actors,
and
they approach the process differently because I think they also understand some of the things that actors struggle with on set. They also understand how actors need to inhibit their characters in that environment, and so they have a consideration about the very many moving parts behind the scenes that could hamper Simpo's performance. I've only seen one director of that consideration. That was Hlomla Dandala, who's ignited to that on a set. Interesting.
Wow.
He's a great director. Anyway,
they're a lot more empathetic than we are. So
they are.
We're more mechanical. They are a lot more hard.
They really are. And I think it was Brendan Ngoli who spoke about it recently on Podcast and Chill, who spoke about, and Simpiwe, you probably resonate with the saying, as an actor walking into a set. For instance, in a rom-com, there's not a lot of heavy scenes, but there could be, walking in with a heavy scene, and because of the mechanicals that move behind, crew is not thinking about, you need to get into the space of emotion and delivery in that moment. When you have an actor's director, they understand that when you walk onto that set, because something must come. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And also it's also, Bridget, like when you look at like what I mentioned earlier on about living in a third world country versus a first world country, like maybe go America when they shoot, whatever scene that they shoot, even if like you're a DOP coming to that set, you are there for the actor and you prepare the scene for such. So like an actor would come in even weeks before in that set so that the body is able to dominate the space. That's why if you visit your friend and it's your first time you're sleeping over, like your body is not really comfortable, but after a few days your body starts to relax. So you walk in that set and you tend to then dominate the space with your body, and okay, this is a camera. No, this camera is here for me. Like really, like touch it and all that, and then your body's relaxed. And when your body's relaxed, then you are able to command your body. Like when it comes to a performance. So here, like the actor, you get cast today, they call this guy DOP, come, da. So he's there, he's like thinking million other production that he has to do, that has to pay the bills, and his shooting's like, no, but and all that. And as an actor, you are there, you're doing that, and when you turn your sideline, you look at the DOP, busy phone or something, or like a kafakai, so that thing, like, it becomes like distractive. Unlike in other countries where there's money, and like we know, we're doing this film, that's all you do. Everything is dedicated there so that you are able to be comfortable. Even if you're an average actor, in those countries, there's no way you cannot not be good.
Interesting perspective, because you know what? We could talk a lot about this, because now as what Simpo is talking, I'm thinking of that last movie that Will Smith did just before Bad Boys.
Yes, the tennis movie.
No, not the tennis one. He was in the jungle. He was shooting something. I forgot what it is.
Was the slave?
The slave.
Oh, yes.
And they were talking about even right down to the assistance of the gaffers and the pullers and everybody knew that what you were talking, that shift in his head, that he was not addressed as Mr. Smith on set. He was addressed as his character. And you were not expecting any kind of Will Smith response, even when the director yells cut. He's still in continuation until we are done with the project, because for him to break that energy becomes difficult for him to get back into that energy. Very, very interesting. Let's talk about some of the cast members that are in this film.
Enough about Simple.
No. So we have a great cast. I think we have a great cast. So we have a great mix of, I think, people who are known versus upcoming, let me call them emerging actors. Which I thought the balance of was great. But then again, I'm biased. So we have Motswaledi Situmo, Pops Mudikwane, Sello Sobotsana. We have Mpule Matlola. We have Sepati Ditshwane, Pumlandazi. So there's a couple of names, but our lead actor is hasn't, he's been a lot more in the ad space. Botho Molahlwa. And now he just got a film that he's led very well.
So this is his breakaway role.
This is his breakaway role. So
fabulous.
this is that was exciting. And so having this mix of faces that are known. And those that are upcoming, not because of ability, but just because, they haven't yet had their chance, has been, that's been the best thing.
But that's a good thing, right? Because more projects like yourself, why not have a lovely mix? What do they call it in the streets? Open up the industry.
That's what the streets call it. Yes.
Right? The old actors got to work, but we're going to open up the industry. We get it. When are we going to cinema with this one? Because we are going straight to cinema.
Yes, we are. Exciting times. So from next week, Friday, the 28th of June, we are at Kainiko and New Metro cinemas.
Look at you.
Nationwide. Yeah. Also in Namibia and Zambia, as well as New Capital Cinemas in Botswana.
What? So you're going cross-border?
Hey, we have to try.
There we go.
We have to try.
No, there we go. So 28th
of June.
Yes. Opening across all the territories that you mentioned.
Correct.
So that's your big opening weekend.
Yes. That is
very important. We say this every time we have filmmakers. For as long as I've been doing radio, for as long as I've been an arts and cultural activist, is that the most important thing for Tebogo as a director, as an owner of a production company beyond the ICE network, is for you to fill up those cinemas on opening weekend.
Yes.
Opening weekend is where the numbers count the most. They count for him and they count for other filmmakers coming up after him. Even if you're not going to go to the movies that day, buy the ticket. He doesn't. He cares whether you're there or not there, but buy the ticket. Please.
Preferably if you're there as well.
Buy the ticket and give it to the auntie who can go that weekend. Very important. We stress this all the time.
And watch parties are also welcome. Grab a friend, grab a friend's friend.
Right.
Better yet, grab the guy
is not ready.
Might be trouble. So that might be helpful for you, for your relationship.
Subtle messaging. It does not work, subtle messaging. It does not work. That was Tebogo Mogali, director and writer of the brand new film He's Not Ready, and it's coming to a cinema near you on the 28th of June. That's next weekend. And of course, they're also joining us playing the character of Uncle Fingers, Simpo Matendra. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the conversation.
Thank you for having
Congratulations on the project. To many more projects to come. To yourself and the cast. 29th of June, mark the date.
The Trilidor Ultimate Big Blue Sale is now on. Get amazing discounts on the best security South Africans trust. With over 50 franchises across the country, you can always find a security expert near you. So call 0861 Trilidor or visit trilidor.co.za today. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you ready to buy or build your first home or buy a stand anywhere in South Africa? If you are a South African citizen, you and your spouse have never benefited from a government housing subsidy program, and your household income is between 3,501 and 22,000 Rand per month, your dream can be realized by applying for a First Home Finance subsidy. To apply, just log into the First Home Finance application online portal at firsthomefinance.co.za or call a call center agent on 010-085-2199 to assist you for free with completing your First Home Finance online application. Beware, applying for First Home Finance subsidy is free. Do not pay anyone when applying for the subsidy. The NHFC is an agency of the National Department of Human Settlements.
In the city of Maiduguri in northeast Nigeria, Stacey Dooley meets Falmata, kidnapped by Boko Haram at age 13, forced to marry 3 times, and finally strapped to a suicide belt and sent out on a bombing mission. Astonishingly, Falmata managed to escape to tell her painful story. Tune into Nigeria's Female Suicide Bombers, Thursday the 27th of June at 9 p.m. Then, stay tuned for Louis Theroux Life on the Edge at 10 p.m. as Louis reflects on the criminal justice system in the USA, which has more prisoners than any country in the world. Channel your inner curiosity with BBC Primetime Documentaries. Thursdays from 9 till 11 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
SAFM Sunrise with Stephen Grootes.
So despite all of that, you're prepared to work in a government with the DA?
We've always said that we'll work with anyone, and we've worked with the DA before. We want to serve the people. We will work with the DA, and we will drive the DA to a point where the DA goes to a rehabilitation center of racism. So the DA does not want us because we are the only party that can stand up to their apartheid tendencies.
More than the ANC?
We stand up to anyone. We also stand up to the ANC. But at this point in time, we are talking about the DA. We'll deal with it.
Kenny Kanene is, of course, the deputy leader of the Patriotic Alliance.
SAFM Sunrise with Stephen Grootes, 6 to 9 a.m. You're listening to Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Alrighty, as we wrap it up, we are catching up with South African luminary, artistic luminary that is, whose journey from the Eastern Cape's Mdantsane Township has seen him rocket to Mzansi Magic's heights, hosting and being part of Ukai Mulai and Scandal that's captivated audiences nationwide. He's got a brand new song also, brand new music. No stranger to the world of theatre and, of course, TV. He's been a part of some productions on your TV screens. He also comes from community theatre, by the way, and trained at the Tshwane University of Technology. And we're hoping that we got him on the line, or we're still trying to get him on the line. He's also the guy who pioneered the Gwijo wave. You know most the Gwijo wave, whenever the Boks are out there playing and representing us, the Gwijo squad is always rallying behind them. And we thought we'd have a quick catch up with Ayanda Daweti, who is an actor as well as Gwijo artist. We're just trying to get him on the line. I think we're kind of struggling with all of our connection. We've been trying for the last couple of moments. So hopefully when we do get him on the line, we can just steal a quick moment or two. But for now, though, our WhatsApp is still open on 0614104107. We can always double back to that earlier conversation you and I were having around Stokvels, and some Stokvels that maybe you were a part of, or that you heard of, or family members that were a part of, that went south, that went awry, didn't quite go according to plan. It does happen, right? It does happen that the Stokvel either just fizzles off and dies, or you just can't find each other as family members, and it ends up being more friction and frustration than anything else. And in the worst case scenario, some people have lost money from Stokvels. I think we have our guest on the line now, or we just trying to get some audio from him. Oh, Ayanda?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much. And how are you, Sean?
I'm great, thank you. I cannot complain. All right. I mean, South Africans are very much familiar with some of the work that you've done, but it's a long ways from, Mdantsane to finding yourself on the screens all across our nation. How did this dream come to be realized?
Yo, man, where do we start? I mean, it all came into fruition when one went to Cape Town. Because, like you just said, I was born in Mdantsane, and then I went to stay with my grandmother, still in the Eastern Cape, there's a small town called Tsolo. And one had always had a dream, but you'd rather protect your dream by not sharing it with others, because you know how we do back where I'm from. Like, they crash our dreams because we don't have those inspirational people growing in those disadvantaged backgrounds. But when one went to Cape Town, that's when the dream came into fruition, man. Because that's where the theater thing started, and yeah, the love of arts just came.
Oh no, the network is
From when I got to Cape Town.
yeah. Don't move your spot. Exactly where you are standing, the network is good. Otherwise, it drops out on us. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay, cool. So all right.
Can you hear me though?
I can.
I'll explain the gown. Okay.
Ayanda? Okay, we've got.
Hi, Bridget. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We heard everything about the gown, even. We heard everything.
I just saw a message now coming from one of your team members there.
Heard everything, even about the gown. Okay, let's talk about. Then you find yourself in Cape Town. You find yourself sort of in the entertainment scene and auditioning. And obviously that then led to your first television role. And how was that journey for you as a young actor coming from a small town in the Eastern Cape, and now suddenly you're finding yourself on the small screens across the country?
I mean, that's where the training comes in, because one has been prepping themselves before those big opportunities, because I would attend master classes, I would attend workshops, the likes of Dumandlov Academy, the Market Theatre Laboratory. So I wouldn't say it was a whole new world for me when I started working on set, even with the terminology. Like when people are telling you about the terms on set,
yeah,
you're kind of like familiar with them because you've done the training, put in the work. So yeah, man, my first thingy made for TV movie rather, was in 2016. We did a beautiful, phenomenal work with Lebodography, his first movie from Zanzi, that got a SAFTA the following year, was made for TV. Ukai Mulao is the name of the movie. So yeah, beautiful experience there. Then one went on to get into soapies. Scandal was my first soapy, beautiful workspace, learned a lot, for like 3 years. So yeah, man, it has been a roller coaster, a beautiful one though.
Yeah, I always figure if one ever wants a crash course into the intensity of the world of television, making TV, a soapy is probably the best place to find yourself.
I didn't get you on the last one.
I was saying that if one wants a crash course on the world of making television, a soapy is probably the best place to find yourself.
It's very key and very important and vital also for one to kind of like train for this thing, because you really show that you respect it and I mean, getting that crash course is quite important. I don't know how to stress it, but it is of significant importance for you to go through that before you get into the game. Because when, like I said, with the terminology, just there, you don't find yourself in an unfamiliar space, and it's like they're speaking foreign language. They're speaking what you know of, and it's just a smooth sailing, and it's easier for you to kind of like. Are you Bridget from television back in the day? Like were you on Generation?
Talk about off-ramping, left, off, center. Oh, my goodness. But yes, I am that Bridget. Okay, quick one. Before we run out of time, let's talk about the music, because I know that you've got a new song, and we're hoping to play it in the final moments of our show. Let's talk about the music. Is it something that you love equally as much as telling, stories through film and television?
Oh man, it has always been an expression, and thank you for that question. It has always been an expression, and man, because when I started, we did musical theater plays where I'm from, because I'm from the musical theater background. Even varsity-wise, I went to TUT. So music and acting were kind of like we wouldn't separate the two. So yeah, music is a form of expression. Also, I just dropped a single now called Ubaxelele, which loosely translates to tell them or let them know, you know. So as much as we express ourselves with this acting thing, it's not necessarily our own thoughts or our own views or our own emotions that we put in the. I don't know how to put this, but with the music, it directly comes from me and my thoughts and my views on how I see the world.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense with that.
You're making all the sense indeed, because I mean the music is like you said, it is your own words, your own thoughts, and your own perspective versus inhibiting a character. Yeah. And now the Guijo wave movement, because that's taken off quite well. And you were one of the people that were leading those voices right at the beginning.
Yeah, man, like Guijo wave it's like a term that we coined. It's like a subgenre because we are so limited in this music space. Like when we upload our music to these DSPs, you are only conformed on it's either you're gonna put it in Afro soul or Afro pop. So you kind of like have to come up with your own term to coin your sound because it's influenced by different sounds. Hence, I'm calling it Guijo wave. If you go to the Eastern Cape, our people are very familiar with Amaguijo, where I'm from, and you fuse those sounds with jazz elements, then Guijo wave came about. So yeah, I hope people do enjoy and do find comfort and home, with all these genres that are out there, the mapianos and whatever. So this is what we came with, Guijo wave, and I hope people do enjoy it, man. And they bump it in their cars and everywhere.
Awesome. Ayanda Dawete, thank you so much for the time this afternoon. And of course, we tried to keep the conversation going for the duration of it, because trying to find another line would have just eaten into an already short time frame. But that is it from myself and my team. Ashraf Gada is coming through for the remainder of the afternoon at 3 until 6. Have yourselves a great weekend. And please, 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 if you are traveling, going out of town, maybe for a little quick short left and you're going to be on the roads, please just enjoy the journey and be safe out there. The journey is half the fun. It's not just about getting to the destination, but you must enjoy the journey as well and make some memories. I always say you'll get there when you get there. Even if you get there an hour later or 2 hours later, you'll get there when you get there. From myself and my team, we'll be coming to you live on Monday from here. And then for the remainder of the week, we are going to be out in Quebec at Makanda for the National Arts Festival, which is going to be celebrating 50 years of incredible artistic productions and works. So inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again tomorrow. Oh yeah, we're playing out with the song. Just a little snippet. Let's do that.
Zawuvela mathuba ndakhwela isitimela ndisithi nzozama yeGoli ndafika kwaNdonga siyaduma bathi bayandifikisa asoze ngiphume kaloku ngisuke emakhaya inkwankwa ndiyayiqeba ubuza umaqobo ubuza usagcika ekhaya intonga siyayiletha ndizela insana zakuthi ezilala ngobusuku zingenalo ithemba ndizela abantu bakuthi abathi xa benibona babona ithemba subaxelele Hlanga subaxelele nasekhaya nganga ndizawubuya izawuna lemvula ndizawubuya zawuvela amathuba.
Top stories. IEC ordered to respond to MK Party's case by Tuesday and SA Hajj pilgrimage victims laid to rest. With the news, I am Dinomo Daung. Good afternoon. The Electoral Court has issued out directives in the newly formed Umkhonto Wesizwe MK political party's bid to invalidate the 2024 national and provincial elections. The Specialist Court has given respondents until Tuesday to file responding affidavits. In addition, the applicant, the MK party, will have until Thursday to file a replying affidavit. The court further noted that it has the right to dispose of this matter on the papers without referring referral to oral hearing. Kenny Mapanga reports.
These directives come after the MK party filed papers seeking an order from the specialist court, which would invalidate the May polls and direct the president to call for a new national election to be held. An affidavit by the MK national organizer Nathi Nhleko says prior to the declaration of the 2024 elections results, the party had already registered grave objections to the lawfulness of the May polls, based on what the party terms as quote-unquote serious voting irregularities. To support its claim, the party attached an analysis alleging voter discrepancy of just over 9 million votes that it says cannot be accounted for. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Meanwhile, political analyst Professor Beki Mgomezulu says it should not come as shock that Dr. John Hlophe has been announced as the leader for the Umkhonto weSizwe party in Parliament. Hlophe has confirmed to SABC News that he will be leading the country's third largest party in the National Assembly. He was impeached as Western Cape Judge President in February this year. In other news, the city of Cape Town has welcomed the Department of Public Works application for an eviction order to remove homeless people who are unlawfully occupying the area around the Castle of Good Hope. The city says the castle is one of the oldest buildings in Cape Town and is a Grade 1 national monument. It says the unlawful occupation at the castle is impacting on Cape Town's status as a top tourist destination as well as general public safety in the vicinity. The city says its social development officials have documented the personal circumstances of each of the unlawful occupants via on-site surveys. We move to the Northern Cape now, where an investigation by the Public Protector and Public Service Commission has revealed that some taxi operating permits were leased to other drivers while some were sold. Permits were leased up to 3,000 Rand and sold for up to 80,000 Rand. A joint damning report by these two organs of state has recommended that officials from the Transport Safety and Liaison Department in the province implicated in fraud and maladministration allegations be held accountable. Mlungisi Khanya is from the Provincial Public Protector's Office.
The MEC must ensure that the incumbent HOD is held accountable for not implementing the recommendations of investigation reports compiled by Mr. Gerber and Mr. Busalitz pertaining to the irregular issuing of operating licenses by the functionaries of the department. The second recommendation that we made was that the MEC must ensure that the incumbent HOD implements the recommendations of the above reports as a matter of urgency with a view to institute disciplinary action against the implicated functionaries or officials.
Lastly, a Durban mother and son have been laid to rest in Saudi Arabia after they both passed away during their annual Hajj pilgrimage in Mecca. 27-year-old Ibrahim Khan died first, and a few days later his mother Shireen also passed away. Haves Ismail Kolvadia is from the South African Hajj and Umrah Council.
The son passed away 6 days before the mother passed away. He was an energetic young person, 27 years of age. Alhamdulillah, there was nothing wrong with him. He had no medical conditions. On the eve of his death, he basically sort of collapsed, got a heart attack, and he passed on. As far as the mother is concerned, obviously she was depressed and she was in a state of mind. But alhamdulillah, she completed her pilgrimage. She did what she had to do as far as the Hajj was concerned. And subsequently, she came in for some treatment. And while on the treatment, she then breathed her last.
Recapping the top story this hour, the Electoral Court has issued out directives in the newly formed Umkhonto weSizwe MK political party's bid to invalidate the 2024 national and provincial elections. The Specialist Court has given respondents until Tuesday to file responding affidavits. Headlines at 3:30 for SAFM News. I am Dineo Motaung.
Coming up in your sports this hour, CSA and BCCI announce upcoming series and Mbappe banned from wearing mask after broken nose. More details at 3:30.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse. Weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
It certainly is the National Pulse. Welcome to the show. Welcome to 3 hours of reflecting on all the things that effectively reflects the pulse of the nation. And you can tell me, as always, what for you moves the National Pulse today. We're going to talk about one thing that I think is really significant. What is the role of the opposition in Parliament, and particularly so this time round? Remember, we now have effectively the MK party would be the leaders of the opposition. Anyway, that's my understanding of it all. So what's the role of the opposition? Lots of other things. There's an issue of a petrol price drop, but there's also the move towards finally demerits when it comes to motor, driving infringements. A good thing for you, bad thing for you? Would you rather pay a fine? Either way, I'd love to know. You can connect on air 0614 104 107 via WhatsApp, text, or voice notes, so you can call in 086 000 2032. My name is Ashraf Garda. Thanks for joining us. Let's get talking. Right. So here's the thing, right? The ANC rules for 30 years. This time round, they don't get a majority, and that's effectively a response to not delivering a better life for all. So the voters effectively rebel, and that vote drops from 57 to 40%. I mean, that's a significant drop, don't you think, right? And then what happens next? They have to try and make a plan to govern with others, right?